She had no name, not anymore, not after they left her behind on that broken moon where the sky crackled with red lightning and the ground hissed with every breath. Monsters lived here. They said beasts of shadow and teeth that hunted anything warm, anything that cried. The little alien girl did both. She was warm, and she cried a lot, especially after the others ran. When the transport was damaged and the engines failed, the crew, the guards, even her own people left her. They said they would return, but she knew they lied, because no one comes back for the weak, the useless, the runt. She was too small to help, too young to understand the controls, and too scared to leave the wreck. So she had curled up inside the cargo hatch with only a cracked emergency light flickering above and a half-broken blanket wrapped around her trembling shoulders. Her purple skin shivered not from the cold, but from the fear there would come the monsters that prowled the black forest outside. She heard them, sometimes a thud of claws across steel, the scratching of something trying to get in, and worse, the silence that came after. As if even the wind was afraid, she stopped counting the days after the third. Maybe it had been a week. Maybe more time had no meaning anymore, not when every second stretched with dread and hunger had become a constant pain. She was dying slowly, and part of her accepted it, the part that had been told. She was nothing, the part that remembered her. Mother's face going blank when the medics said she would never grow strong enough to fight. Then the roar came, not a monster this time, but something deeper, louder, like engines, old engines, human engines. She had seen their ships before during the trading convoys. Crude, loud, powerful, terrifying. The sound was close, growing closer. She didn't move. Maybe it was another dream. She had many dreams now, mostly of food or warmth or someone calling her name, someone she never met but wanted to with all her heart. Then something landed with a crash nearby metal. Groaning boots thudding through mud. The hatch of the wreck groaned, and a beam of harsh white light split the darkness. She whimpered, shrank back. A voice called out, not in her tongue, but with concern, with urgency. And then she saw him, a figure in dark armor, helmeted, holding a weapon, but not pointing at her. Instead, he dropped it, quickly lifted both hands, showing no threat. He stepped closer slowly, and knelt. She could barely see his face under the visor, but his voice was softer now. Gentle he spoke. Again, different words, trying again and again, until he just stopped and said, I'm here, little one, you're safe now. He reached into his pack slowly and took out something glowing blue, a ration bar. He broke it open, and the smell made her stomach twist with need. She wanted to leap forward, but her legs didn't obey. He saw that, and without asking, he stepped and lifted her. Like she weighed nothing, his arms were warm. She didn't understand why that made her cry. Again, silent tears soaking his shoulder, but he didn't push her away. He didn't say she was weak. He just held her tight to the ship. He came with small, old, patched together with human symbols and scrapes of battle, but was home to him, and he made it safe for her. He gave her food, wrapped her in clean blankets, let her rest in the co-pilot's chair while he worked, and when she woke screaming from nightmares, he was always there, always calm, always ready to hand her water or just sit nearby. Without speaking, he never asked what happened, but she told him anyway, slowly, broken words, pieces of fear scattered between sobs and silence. She told him about the others, the ones who left her. He didn't say anything, just listened until she was done. Then he said something she never forgot. They were cowards. You're not a coward. You're still here. That matters. And from then on, she followed him everywhere. He called himself Rafe. Just Rafe, no long names or titles. He wasn't like the soldiers she had known, not clean or cold or cruel. He was messy, loud, sometimes grumpy, but never cruel. He fixed things with old tools, cursed at broken parts, made jokes she didn't understand, and smiled a lot. And when he realized she was mimicking his words, he started teaching her properly, pointing at objects, saying their names. She learned faster than she expected. And every time she got something right, he gave her this proud look that made her chest feel warm. Once they landed on a trade outpost, she stayed close, afraid of the crowd, the noise, but Rafe kept one hand on her shoulder and told her it's all right, nobody's taking you again. And they did not. After one alien merchant made a snide comment about her, and Rafe slammed him into the wall without hesitation. After that, nobody even looked at her wrong. She began to believe maybe she had a place, maybe being small didn't mean worthless, maybe being abandoned didn't mean forgotten. And then one night, while they drifted in orbit over some silent moon, she asked him why he came to that planet, why he found her. His answer was quiet. I didn't know anyone was there. Heard a beacon, figured it was junk, but something told me to check anyway. Guess it wasn't junk after all. She smiled, the first real smile she could remember. But peace never lasts, especially not for the small, not for the broken. It started with a signal encrypted and old, but familiar. Her people, they had found them, or rather they had found her. A rescue ship came gleaming white and gold with perfect uniforms and cold voices. They thanked Rafe for saving her, offered rewards, credits, diplomatic favors. He refused them all, said he wasn't in it for that. But when they said she had to return, her body froze. They said she was a child of noble blood. Her disappearance had caused great shame. Her family wanted her back for duty, for restoration, not for love, not for care. She didn't want to go. Rafe looked at her and asked what she wanted, not what they said, what she wanted. And she said, I want to stay with you. They argued, the diplomats, the officers, they called him a kidnapper, a thief, Rafe, just stood there calm and quiet until they threatened to take her by force. And then he said no, and everything changed. It wasn't a long fight. He didn't kill anyone, he just made sure they couldn't take her, and when they left angry and humiliated, he hugged her tightly and said, "I'm sorry, kid, guess we're fugitives now." She didn't mind, not one bit, because for the first time in her life, someone had chosen her not for what she could become or what she represented, but simply because she mattered. The years passed. She grew stronger, still small, still odd, but sharper now, with eyes that missed nothing and a heart that trusted one man completely. They traveled worlds, found old ruins, chased rumors, helped people who had no one else. And every night, she fell asleep knowing he would be there when she woke, until one day, he wasn't. It was a raid gone wrong, mercenaries, ambush, gunfire, chaos. She fought hard, too hard, but not fast enough, and when she reached him, he was bleeding. Bad, too bad. His voice was faint but calm, still calm, always calm. He touched her cheek and said, "You're not the little girl, cry in the dark anymore. You're fire. Now remember that." And then he was gone just like that, just silence, no more jokes, no more warmth, just her alone again, except she wasn't really alone, not anymore, because everything he taught her lived in her now, his courage, his kindness, his defiance. She took the ship, repaired it, painted his name across the hull, and kept flying, not to run, but to find others like she once was, a broken and forgotten, the ones left among monsters. She found them one by one, gave them food, warmth, a hand, a smile. And when they asked who she was, she gave them a name he once gave her, hope. A Lab and Domp, hashtag Space Oddity, hashtag Storytime, hashtag YouTube Story.